and need a whole set of fresh thinking. Because I think we can, it is not like what the Russians, or for that matter, the Chinese, are offering their people is better than what we can offer, but we gotta have the kind of buy-in that currently our political system is not offering people.
Thank you.
I should end on that note, but you get the last word. This is like, and for those of you who are future politicians, never take the last question, because they always get you on the last question.
Pressure. I'm not trying to be a hostile questioner. So thank you so much for your time, Senator. I'm curious, you've talked a lot about bipartisanship. I know that's one of your focuses, and you're a member of one of the committees that's maybe done a better job escaping partisan rancor. But, for the Senate especially, you've seen some of the Senate traditions that have really served to allow the Senate to address kind of, the higher level issues in a more bipartisan way. You've seen traditions like whether it's the blue slip tradition, or whether it's the steady erosion of the filibuster, and both parties have at times been
Harry Reid
complicit
getting
in
rid of
this.
the 60 vote rule on judges was a mistake.
Yep. So I'm curious. I mean, within the Senate especially, I mean, are you seeing any signs, or do you think that there's possibility of this kind of escalating war coming to a close, so that the Senate can fulfill the role of being the bipartisan kind of voice in the government?
As a business guy, longer than I've been a politician, I cannot just imagine saying, I'm going to take ideas from this half of the room, but everybody on this half of the room has got bad ideas by definition. It's just wacky. The challenge is right now there's not many reinforcing mechanisms for people to work together. So, my argument to you all is, you're leaders of the future. My 3 asks would be, 1, realize that neither MSNBC nor Fox News tells you the truth. Second is, as much as you want to throw a shoe at the TV when the news comes on, and I feel the same way and I'm inside the TV, don't tune out, because if you tune out, you turn the keys over to the extremes. And this is where I get in trouble with some of the folks, and I'm a proud Democrat. I was Democratic State Party chair and stuff. But I think, you need to reward good behavior of people in both political parties. If you see people step up and do the right thing for the country, we all need to get out of our personal political foxholes at times. It means you're a Democrat, vote for a Republican who's willing to acknowledge maybe we ought to be spending more than 5 cents on every dollar on education, infrastructure, and R&D. If you're a Republican, vote for a Democrat who's willing to acknowledge that as great as Social Security and Medicare are, the math around those programs don't work anymore because we're living a lot longer. And until we can reinforce that good behavior, if we go more and more kind of into partisan foxholes, you're going to get, the system will respond with people that respond to those notions. And, and let me acknowledge, I'm really lucky. I get to do this job on terms that very few people do. I made money first. I lost at everything. I failed at business. I failed at politics. Before I always got a second or third shot. And, I'm at the point now where after I had a pretty good run as governor and trying here, there are too many good people, but people of both parties who get so addicted to the job that they're not willing to make the hard choice anymore. And at the end of the day, we ought to reinforce people who step up for the country most.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask one last question.
No,
Yes.
that was like the grand finale.
Really good.
That was like, Mo, cut me a break, man.
It was really good. But look, we spend on this on these threats to democracy, we spend a lot of time talking about what the administration can do. We talked a lot about what the Congress can do. We talked a lot about what the Pentagon can do, what state and local officials can do, what technology companies can do. You're sitting in front of a bunch of young people who live in technology, who live in this world. What can they do as individuals? What kind of personal responsibility can they take to help protect our digital democracy?
I think, one, be smart about how you use technology in terms of realizing it can and will be used against you. 2 is, do not believe any of the bull that comes from people that your votes don't count and your voices don't count, because frankly, you're going to have a lot more knowledge than me and most of the other people I work with. And 3 is, help us frickin' figure this out. I mean, do not presume that just because especially with somebody like you, that just because we're sitting up here, that we know more than you, especially in these arenas. You know, maybe historically there was, you know, I may know a little more about how to make money, especially than you. But, you know, but around these issues around technology, and that it's going to be, it's going to continue to transform your life. I mean, the amount of change that will be driven by artificial intelligence by 2030, you know, it can be enlightening, or it could be like a really dark. There's a reason. There was a great statistic that, and it was like 3 years old. So it's a little off, but there was like something between 2004 and 2016. There have been 374 science fiction movies made, and 368 of them had this dystopian future where usually it was not some government that was the bad guys. It was some company that was the bad guys. You know, this kind of notion of global governance that was good was turned into global ingovernance that was bad. And we need your ideas to help figure this out. But at the end of the day, you know, don't lose faith. It's never been a good bet to bet against the United States of America.
See, that was a good note to end on.
Done.
Senator,
Thank you guys.